There is a moment in every NFL draft when the lights go dim, the cameras turn away, and the last name called echoes through an almost empty room. In 2022, that name was Brock Purdy, pick 262, dead last, Mr. Irrelevant, the title given every year to the final player selected, a joke pick, a courtesy call, a guy who would be forgotten by training camp. The San Francisco 49ers did not even need him. They had 3 quarterbacks already. Brock Purdy was not supposed to matter. And then, in the span of one improbable season, he became the most talked about quarterback in the entire National Football League. This is not a story about luck. This is a story about a kid from Gilbert, Arizona, who refused to accept the label the world handed him. He outworked every room he ever walked into. He proved that the last pick in the draft could become the most efficient passer in the league. Stay with us, because this story gets better with every chapter. Brock Purdy was born on December 27, 1999, in Scottsdale, Arizona. He grew up in Gilbert, a suburban city southeast of Phoenix that has become one of the most football-rich environments in the entire country. His father, Sean Purdy, was deeply involved in his athletic development from the very beginning. He spent hours in the backyard working on fundamentals with a son who showed an almost unnatural feel for the game before he was old enough to fully understand it. His mother, Carrie Purdy, kept the household grounded. Alongside his siblings Chubba and Whitney, Brock grew up in a tight-knit family environment. Competition was constant. The drive to improve was built into daily life. Brock's older brother Chubba was a running back who played at Oklahoma and later in the NFL. The Purdy household was not just football adjacent. It was football obsessed. Brock grew up watching what it meant to work for something bigger than yourself. At Perry High School in Gilbert, Brock Purdy did not just play quarterback. He dominated. He threw for over 3,800 yards as a senior. He led Perry to an Arizona State championship in 2017. He also excelled in basketball and baseball. His football IQ at that age was described by his coaches as something they had rarely seen. He could read a defense before the snap. He processed information faster than his peers. He made decisions under pressure that most college quarterbacks struggle to make. He was recruited by several programs, but it was Iowa State that came calling with the most genuine interest. Purdy made the decision to head to Ames, Iowa. He chose to play for head coach Matt Campbell. That decision would shape everything that followed. Iowa State is not a football factory. It is not a program where 5-star recruits arrive every summer. NFL scouts do not line the sidelines every Saturday. It is a place where program-built players develop over years. The culture Matt Campbell installed demanded accountability, toughness, and growth. Purdy arrived in 2018 as a true freshman. He did something very few quarterbacks do at any level of college football. He started immediately. In his very first season, he threw for 2,250 yards with 16 touchdowns. He performed at a level that signaled to the college football world that Iowa State had something special at quarterback. Over the next 3 years, Purdy built one of the most statistically successful careers in Iowa State history. He threw for over 12,000 yards in his college career. He finished with 81 touchdowns and 36 interceptions. He led the Cyclones to 3 consecutive bowl games. That included the 2021 Fiesta Bowl. Iowa State defeated Oregon 30-217. He was a 2-time Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year finalist. He finished his college career as the program's all-time leader in passing yards and touchdown passes. The numbers were elite, the film was compelling, and yet NFL draft analysts were not impressed. He was seen as a system quarterback. People believed he was simply a product of Matt Campbell's offense. Analysts questioned whether his game would translate to the NFL. He was projected as a late-round pick at best. Most mock drafts had him going in the 6th or 7th round. Some did not even have him being selected at all. The pre-draft process did nothing to change those assessments. Purdy's arm strength was questioned. His size was considered borderline for the position. Scouts acknowledged his accuracy. They praised his football intelligence. But they still doubted whether he could survive against NFL defenses. The 49ers had him ranked on their board, but nobody expected San Francisco to invest in him seriously. On April 30th, 2022, in the final seconds of the 7th round of the NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers selected Brock Purdy. He was the 262nd and final pick, Mr. Irrelevant, the pick that ends the broadcast, the name that closes the book. What happened next rarely gets told loudly enough. Purdy arrived in Santa Clara with nothing to lose and everything to prove. The 49ers already had Jimmy Garoppolo. They had also invested heavily in Trey Lance. Purdy was the third quarterback on a depth chart that had no real room for him. He was a practice body. He was a developmental player. Someone who might spend time on the practice squad. But Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff noticed something immediately. Purdy processed information incredibly fast. He understood the system quickly. He was accurate in practice. He remained calm in the huddle. He looked different from what anyone expected. He made the 53-man roster. He sat. He prepared. He waited. Then everything changed on December 4th, 2022. Trey Lance had already been lost for the season due to injury. Jimmy Garoppolo suffered a broken foot against the Miami Dolphins. The game was on the line. The season was in the balance. Brock Purdy walked onto the field as the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. The football world barely noticed. Then he started winning. He did not just manage games. He commanded them. He went 5-0 as a starter in the regular season. He became the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to win his first 5 starts while throwing for more than 200 yards in each game. His passer rating was among the highest ever recorded for a quarterback beginning his career. He threw touchdowns. He protected the football. He read defenses with the calm of a 10-year veteran. The 49ers won the NFC West Division title. They entered the playoffs with Purdy as their quarterback. The sports world was now paying full attention. He led San Francisco to wins in the wild card round and the divisional round. He became the first undrafted or final round pick quarterback to win multiple playoff games in a single postseason in the Super Bowl era. Then came the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. That was where the story hit its most painful turn. Early in the first quarter, Purdy suffered an elbow injury. The injury effectively ended his ability to throw the ball. He tore the UCL in his right elbow. He attempted to play through it. It was one of the most difficult moments to watch in recent playoff memory. The recovery timeline was roughly 9 to 12 months. The football world immediately began asking questions. Was Purdy actually good, or was he simply a product of Kyle Shanahan's system? Would he fully recover? Could he sustain the performance he had shown? The off-season debates became loud. Many analysts dismissed him. Some argued that any competent quarterback could succeed in San Francisco. They pointed to the offensive line. The injury was too severe. San Francisco lost. The season was over. The surgery that followed was UCL reconstruction. It is the same procedure commonly called Tommy John surgery in baseball. They pointed to Deebo Samuel. They pointed to Brandon Ayuk. They pointed to George Kittle. The system quarterback argument came back stronger than ever. Purdy spent the offseason in rehabilitation. He attacked rehab with the same intensity he had shown throughout his life. He returned to practice ahead of schedule. Then the 2023 NFL season began. Brock Purdy answered every question. He threw for 4,280 yards. He threw 31 touchdowns. He only threw 11 interceptions. He finished with a 113.0 passer rating. It was the highest single-season passer rating in San Francisco for Niners franchise history. He was selected to the Pro Bowl. He finished second in NFL MVP voting, behind Lamar Jackson. He led the 49ers back to the NFC Championship game. This time he was healthy. This time he was fully in command. San Francisco defeated Green Bay. Then they defeated Detroit. The 49ers advanced to Super Bowl 58 against the Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas. The Super Bowl became one of the most dramatic championship games in recent memory. The game went into overtime. The 49ers held a lead. The Chiefs fought back. Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City eventually won 25-22. Purdy was denied his championship ring. He threw for 255 yards in the game. He operated efficiently under enormous pressure. He faced a defense that had spent weeks preparing specifically for him. The loss hurt, but his performance confirmed something important. Brock Purdy was not a system quarterback. He was not a product of circumstance. He was one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. His story resonates beyond statistics. It exposes flaws in how talent is evaluated. The NFL draft is a billion-dollar industry built around identifying talent. Teams employ dozens of scouts, analysts, and coaches. Their sole job is to find future stars. Yet every single team passed on Brock Purdy. All 32 teams did it. They passed on him 261 times. They watched the same film. They collected the same measurements. They conducted the same interviews. Still, nobody believed he deserved a higher selection. The final pick in the draft entered one of football's most sophisticated systems. He immediately operated at a Pro Bowl level. Analysts later examined what they had missed. Many concluded that his pre-snap processing had been severely undervalued. His pocket movement had also been overlooked. Kyle Shanahan has been very direct about what makes Purdy special. He points to his ability to recover from mistakes. He points to his leadership. He points to his calmness under pressure. These qualities do not appear on a combine report, but they appear every Sunday on the field. They were visible from his first training camp. George Kittle also praised Purdy publicly. He said the entire huddle responds differently when Purdy is leading it. Leadership cannot always be measured. Sometimes it can only be felt. The contract situation heading into the 2024 season added another dimension to Purdy's story. He had been playing on a rookie contract. He was earning roughly $870,000 per year. That salary was far below the market value of a starting NFL quarterback. Negotiations for a long-term extension soon began. Then everything changed. The San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy agreed to a massive 5-year extension. The deal was worth $250 million. It included $160 million guaranteed. Purdy instantly became one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in NFL history. The last pick in the 2022 draft had completely rewritten his future. In just 2 years, he had gone from earning less than $1 million to signing one of the richest contracts in football. The financial transformation alone was incredible. There is a phrase often used in sports. People call it proving everyone wrong. But Brock Purdy's story goes beyond that phrase. He did not simply prove people wrong. He exposed the weaknesses of conventional evaluation. He showed how easy it is to reduce players to measurable categories. He showed how often people confuse systems with talent. He showed how hype is sometimes mistaken for ability. First-round picks carry enormous expectations. Those expectations can crush players. The final pick carries almost none. There is no pressure. There is no spotlight. There are no demands from fans or the media. Sometimes that freedom allows a player to become his true self. That is exactly what happened with Brock Purdy. He grew up in Gilbert, Arizona. He spent countless hours throwing footballs in the backyard with his brother. Elite college programs overlooked him. He chose Iowa State. Every NFL team eventually passed on him. Then he went to work. He studied Kyle Shanahan's offense. He learned every detail of the system. His dedication impressed coaches who had seen dozens of quarterbacks come through the organization. He waited patiently. He stayed ready. When his opportunity finally arrived, he delivered. He performed at a level that nobody predicted. He performed at a level that nobody could deny. The story of Brock Purdy is still being written. He is still in his mid-20s. He still has a Super Bowl to win. He still has records left to break. He still has narratives left to rewrite. But what he has already accomplished is remarkable. His journey is now one of the most compelling stories in modern NFL history. He went from being the last name called in a draft room to becoming the face of one of football's most historic franchises. He went from Mr. Irrelevant to one of the most relevant players in the entire sport. He did not just make the team, he became the face of it. That is the story of a kid who was told he was last. And he decided that last was simply where the story begins.